Are we looking good?
Basically, hold them whenever, like... Action.
Are we good now?
Yeah, we're good. Well,
okay, cool.
Let's start now. Yeah.
Right, let's do it, mate. So, we're launching a new podcast, which is going to come out on Fridays, and I think we're going to call it Medics Money On Call.
Yeah, sounds good.
Basic idea is, when we normally record a podcast, we have a bit of a chat beforehand and talk about general financial stuff, and then we actually record the real podcast, and we just delete all that other stuff, because we thought no one would be that interested in it. But our podcast editor, who's actually filming this, he's waving, but he's behind a camera, so
He's not very good.
he thought it might be interesting. So this is just like the Medics Money podcast on call, more reactive to current events. And last time we were on a podcast together, we called it Fiscal Incontinence.
Yep.
Particularly amusing, I think you'll agree. And it was about the mini budget, which wasn't mini.
Nope. Anything but.
Yeah, we were pretty outspoken about how bad we thought it was. And it turns out we weren't the only ones.
Yep. Most people hated it.
Yeah. What did you say? Everyone who isn't nuts hates this. Is that the quote?
Everyone who isn't mad hates this. Yeah, that was a Tory MP that said that.
Strong. And indeed, since then, so much has changed. So I thought we should talk about that as well. I noticed we've just arrived in London and we're in a salubrious hotel. You've already got a coffee on the go.
Yep. Yeah, I just needed one straight away.
We've been here 5 minutes. I love it.
Yeah, it's not the nicest, but it's free coffee. So
right. So let's get into it. So last time we talked, a lot of changes.
Yep.
Let's talk about what's gone back to normal or what's changed and where we're at, and then let's do some speculation on the budget, which is coming up next week.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because as you say, the budget's coming up on the 17th, which is Thursday. So, week today it's coming up. So absolutely, a lot of things have changed. So before this trust was booted out, they'd already made a few changes. So they'd already, if you remember, they scrapped the additional hire rate of 45%. That they brought back in because they decided it was too much focus was on that part of their policy and nothing else. So they reversed that. So that was brought back in. So 45% came back in. And then they were forced to backtrack on their corporation tax. When it's kind of a cut, not really a cut, more of a reversal. So it was going to be going up to 25% from April next year. That was a Rishi Sunak decision. But Liz Truss scrapped it, but then U-turned, and now that was brought back. So corporation tax rates are going up from April to 25%, or if you've got more than £50,000 in profit.
Yeah, and we've talked about how there's a marginal rate there.
Yeah.
But that's actually on our YouTube, and you could also be watching us now on YouTube, and you'll see just how salubrious this hotel is. What are you giving the coffee out of 10?
0.5 out of 10.
Ouch!
I reckon.
Why?
Well, it only gives you like a really small amount of coffee. It's really cold, even though I just made it. And I'm a bit cross really.
Okay.
But it's free, so.
Okay. So that budget's been basically torn up.
Yeah, because those are the two changes made before we even got to Jeremy Hunt making a statement, whereby he managed to change some other things as well. So a big one that he's changed would be they plan to cut the income to the basic rate to 19%. He scrapped that, so that's staying at 20% as it is at the moment. He also rode back on the IR35 rules that were going to be changed, so that's important for all you guys who might be locum in. And also he's kept an increase in dividend tax by 1.25%. That was also going to be scrapped, so that's staying as well. Yeah,
so Jeremy is back. Obviously, doctors will know him as a former health secretary, the longest serving health secretary ever.
Yeah.
And then you've got to wonder how he thinks he's not in some way responsible for the current state of the NHS, given he was the longest running health secretary ever.
Yeah, absolutely.
But since he's been on the back benches, he's been pretty vocal about quite a few things. So mainly the state of the NHS, which obviously as the longest running health secretary ever, he had nothing to do with. But he's also been quite vocal on the issues surrounding pensions taxation for doctors. So I think he's been doing a bit of pre-budget kite flying, because what normally happens pre-budget is, they sort of roll out a few things. They say fly the kite, so they put the kite up and see what the reaction is, right? And that just did not happen with the Liz Truss budget, and that caught everyone by surprise. But Jeremy's flying the kite. So he's flying a few pension kites, one about lifetime allowance.
Yes, so in terms of speculating about what the budget is going to happen, yeah, you're absolutely right. There's a thought that he's going to freeze the lifetime allowance, which is currently just over £1 million for pension contributions. He's going to freeze that for at least another 2 years.
Can we get a rewind? What? Because some people might not know what the lifetime allowance is.
I tell you what, mate, I bet you answer that.
All right, fine. So the lifetime allowance is basically the total amount that you can save into your pension, and it is currently
£1,073,000.
Nice. And it's called the lifetime allowance. Okay, so it's not called the lifetime limit. You can go over that allowance, but over that allowance you will start to pay additional tax, and I think the tax is 50% on a lump sum.
55, I think.
55 on a lump sum and
25
on pensions over that.
Yeah.
And so we've talked about this before loads, about the freezing of allowance. Because you say, oh, you're freezing the allowance. It's not going down. It's not going, well, we'll talk about whether that is, but it's frozen. It doesn't sound that bad, but we've been banging on about this for ages. Tell me again why freezing is actually bad.
Yeah, and just on that note, the expectation is he's also going to freeze pretty much every other allowance as well for the next couple of years. So as you say, we're going to suffer from something called fiscal drag. The reason why it's bad is it's basically what we call a stealth tax. So it doesn't sound too innocuous, too bad. It doesn't sound awful, but the problem is more and more people are going to get automatically dragged over and above these allowances or these thresholds, and will almost certainly end up paying more tax as a result. So it's a way for the government to raise revenue without actually saying they're raising revenue, basically.
This is effectively a pretty big increase in taxation, but
Yeah.
without, as you say, fiscal drag.
Yeah, and made all the worse by the fact we've currently got quite very high inflation rates, and so more and more people are going to be dragged up because of inflation over these thresholds.
Yeah. Okay.
So not good.
And I was reading in the papers today about tax relief on pensions. Again, this is purely speculative, and we are going to be doing one of our... I hope the next budget episode isn't called fiscal incontinence. We need like fiscal semi-continence at least. Like we really do.
Fiscal Imodium.
Fiscal Imodium, exactly, yeah.
Sorry, you're paranoid.
Yeah. What are you doing? Prescribing these fancy...
Oh, no. I've got to get the generics on.
Yeah. Can we set up an NHS doctor? Outrageous. Taxation relief on pension contributions. Talk to me.
Yeah.
I don't want you to say this.
Well, there's multiple rumours about what he's going to do. And he's in a bit of a bind, which I'm happy to explain in a minute. But there's a thought that he might limit the amount of tax relief that you can get on a pension contribution to 20%. So you'll all know that at the moment, your pension comes off your payslip automatically, which basically gives you tax relief at your marginal rate, basically. So if you're a 40% taxpayer, your pension comes off, you save 40%. But he's thinking about limiting that to 20%, which will be quite a significant change and will result in quite big tax bills for a lot of us. Especially given that we can, but often shouldn't, come out of the pension scheme or not make payments into it, etc. If you're in a private pension, then fine, you just don't pay into it if you're going to suffer. But for us, it's a bit trickier.
Yeah, because you lose the employer contribution, etc.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's just a rumour. What do you reckon? Like, give me no one's got a crystal ball. Yeah. This might age badly, but give me your prediction.
About pensions or about everything?
About what we just talked about,
pensions.
Removing the...
So making it 20%. I think he would... I think there's a chance he will, but I think it's probably less likely.
Political suicide, mate.
Only because, it's going to be absolutely suicide. I mean, he's going to be destroyed by the party.
Political suicide, that is going to hit your average Conservative voter right in the pocket.
I suspect they do other things.
They always talk about it as well. They always talk about it, and then no one has the minerals to do it. Yeah. So we'll see how that prediction stands the test of time. Okay, anything else budget related that we need to talk about? Yeah.
So again, speculations as to what he might do. The problem they've got is they're a little bit caught by their 2019, if you remember that, their manifesto pledges not to increase income tax, not to increase VAT, and not to increase national insurance. Which is why corporation tax was something they had to do. They didn't really have much option left. Also, why when they effectively increased national insurance, they basically called it the Health and Social Care Levy. That's actually one of the few things that survived the Truss budget. From the 6th of November, which has just passed, all the national insurance rates went back down again by 1.25%. It's one of only two things that really stayed. The other thing being that stamp duty cut that was made. But yeah, the only things that stayed. So he's basically a bit stuck. He's technically not allowed to increase income tax or VAT or national insurance. Otherwise, he's breaking the election promises. There's a thought that one thing they might do is increase employers' national insurance, but not employees, which may mean obviously higher bills for employers, but that would include, for example, GP partners, and of course NHS trusts will end up paying more, so there'll be less money going around. So that's one thing. The other things that they're rumoured to be doing are as follows. One is changing the way dividends are taxed, which may or not affect people here, but it may do indirectly because a lot of people rely on pensions, and pensions rely on dividend income from their shares. But they're thinking they might cut the dividend allowance from £2,000 to, well, either scrap it or more likely halve it to £1,000, and also maybe increase the tax rate. And the other thing is they're thinking about changing capital gains tax as well. That's another thing they're contemplating doing.
Yeah, I think recruiting 5,000 extra GPs was a manifesto commitment as well, but they don't seem so bothered about honouring that commitment.
I'm sure Jeremy Hunt's constantly was banging on about it in the backbenches. That's what we should be doing.
Yeah.
Not that he did it, and not that they haven't been doing it.
I think a lot of doctors are kind of hopeful that Jeremy Hunt's going to be the saviour of the NHS pension, and I sincerely hope that it is. But what I'll say is Jeremy Hunt is an excellent politician, and you know, I remember him from the 2016 junior doctor strike, which, I mean, nurses are going on strike, found out today.
Yeah, they waited today, didn't they?
But yeah, it's Jeremy's actions are going to speak louder than his words, and it's easy to say these things on the backbenches, but now he's going to actually have to deliver. So
yeah,
I'm sceptical, but I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, that's it. So we'll see what he does. He's going to, I think he's got to fill a £60 billion hole. I think I read, and he was going to fill that with 25 billion of tax cuts and. Tax raises and 35 billion of spending cuts. So,
I mean, basically, whoever's been in charge of the NHS and the economy for the last 12 years has done a terrible job. But don't worry, these new guys...
Yeah, the new ones.
New ones going to sort it all out, basically.
New boys are in. They're going to deal with this. Saved.
I mean, those were previous 12 years, people were awful, but these new guys are awesome. Yeah. Okay, cool. Did we mention we're in London?
Yeah, I think at the start, because we were obviously recording in our hotel room.
Yeah.
Awful hotel coffee.
So we just arrived in London having Medics Money Live, which is us coming out from behind the podcast and screen into the real world.
Yeah.
And we're having a live event tomorrow.
Royal
College,
on Euston Road. Very exciting.
Yeah, we'll talk about that next week. I want to sort of compare live events to virtual events, because we've been doing a lot of live speaking recently, and just think about that, because I think everyone thinks live is better. I've got a few thoughts. I mean, because we run our course, which is basically completely online, and I think the interactions that we have there in the community, which is like a private community, are really, really good.
I think they're good, they're really, really good, absolutely.
So let's talk about that next week, because we actually got a whole load of the best specialist medical accountants, pensions advisors. Dr. Gandhi's coming as well. We've got to go meet him now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I don't know why I bought this, because I didn't write anything.
Yeah, I don't know, but it looked good.
I was just holding on to it for for security or something. I was a bit nervous.
Just holding on to my coffee cup.
Alright, are we done?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so this is like a new style.
Yeah.
We don't know if it's going to be popular. If you like it, leave us a 5-star review. If you don't like it, don't leave us a review. Just email us or politely drag us aside if you see us wandering around the hospital or in a GP surgery near you. Take care.
Yeah, thanks guys.